So I thought while we have this group of semi nerdy folks and who review and look at these sort of things frequently. So Ahsoka is a new show that's out. It's part of this. I mean, of course, at some point, anyone watching this has seen at least one Star Wars movie in their life. And Ahsoka is part of, I guess, what I think they're just trying to string this out as long as possible. They're just trying to any character that's popped up in any movie, I feel like they would make a show about it if they could. They would make a show about the Porgs, I think, if they could, which I would watch because I loved the Porgs. But I'm enjoying the kind of leftist reviews of Ahsoka because it's like it's I think it's meh. I don't think it's great. I definitely fell asleep. There's what 4 or 5 episodes out right now, but I love and it's mostly women in the
I
show,
love
but
how
I
that was just like an assumption. Like it's like, of course, I fell asleep a few times like while watching it.
yeah, I
It's modern
tried to
Star
stay
Wars.
awake, and but I'm loving that I mean, it's not that these are completely irrelevant female characters, but I love how the left, like, for example, we love Salon, will try to make everything, about like, this is a big feminist win, like, even if it's not a well-written show, even if there are a lot of obvious mistakes happening, um, that they'll just be like, "Well, there's a lot of women, so this is a feminist win." And this article says how Ahsoka takes the sexist subtext of Star Wars and brings it to the foray through Hera Syndula. With 3 leading women in the latest Star Wars story, ignoring the bureaucratic sexism at play is impossible. Like when I was watching this show, I didn't think of sexism once. I just was like, okay, this is I think and please correct me if I'm wrong, but Hera is a character from the Clone Wars.
This is no, she's from Star Wars Rebels,
Oh,
so
fuck, that's
another
right.
Dave Filoni show.
Okay.
Mm.
And Hera is this green creature married to what the fuck is his name?
Kanan,
She's the wife of he
Kanan.
w
I'll say it a third time. Kanan.
No, not Kanan, her real life husband.
Oh right.
Oh,
So it's
I
Mary
see.
Elizabeth Winstead. Oh man, who's she married
Freddie
to?
Prince Jr., says Mark.
No, she's married to the guy who was in Moulin Rouge. Love lifts us up where we
Oh, Ewan McGregor.
belong. Yes.
I love Ewan
Oh,
McGregor.
oh, I love you,
Where
McGregor.
eagles
Yeah.
fly. She's the wife of Ewan McGregor. Also, she played Ramona Flowers in, oh my god, I actually might have had
Uh, the Toronto-based
the
comic movie.
that had to win back your girlfriend. They had to fight all the
Ah,
girlfriends, fight all the ex-boyfriends.
Scott
Oh,
Pilgrim.
Scott
Scott
Pilgrim versus
Pilgrim.
the
Yeah,
World.
Thank you.
thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Good god.
The
God,
thing is,
that
Mary
was the
Elizabeth
struggle.
Winstead is a good actress, but you would never know it from this show.
I mean, her ass is doing a great job in whatever pants they've got her in, but that's my
They,
biggest takeaway from her performance.
I did notice that. Yeah, they seem to have a lot of camera shots on her ass as she's walking
Yeah,
around.
a lot of light colored pants happening. So Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and also the part of the message of this show is, oh, you can be a Jedi and you don't need to have the Force anymore, which is like a complete degradation of everything that was important and special about the Jedi because it was you were born kind of special. You honed your abilities. There was a
I think
spiritual
Anyone
aspect.
could
I
be
can see why
special.
this becomes
Mm.
problematic for modern Hollywood thinking, right? Because they would much more prefer to believe that everyone can do everything. There's no such thing as natural talent or abilities or anything like that, and like everyone has to be able to do everything because otherwise, like you're starting to segregate people into different categories of I guess ability. And so this idea in Star Wars that some people are just born with this ability with the Force, that doesn't sit well with them. So now it has to be morphed into like a whole new idea of, well, you can be a Jedi and you don't need the Force. You can just, if you just believe really hard that you can do it, then sure, like that's good enough, I guess.
Right. It's
Um,
not like meditating. It's not like white girl yoga, Bikram yoga, where it's like anybody can do it. You just gotta hang in there, keep coming to class, keep paying your
just show
$50.
up, get your participation trophy, and just get given a lightsaber, you know. And it just it's that whole cliche of like, if everyone is special, then no one's special anymore.
Mm.
And I think that's probably where it comes in. Like, you know, the original movie trilogy put forward this idea, well, certain people are like the chosen one, almost like they are different, they are
Like the
something.
Jews. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, okay, go down that road. But yeah, they're just you know, there's something that marks them out as different from other people. They got better potential than other people do, and that's why Luke Skywalker goes on this journey, you know. But now it's like, well, that's not acceptable anymore, because that excludes other people from this like wonderful world of Jedis and chopping people up with lightsabers. And so everyone now has to be able to take part in that. So this is what we've been landed with. Anyone can do it now.
Do
Anyone
you
can just choose to be a Jedi.
do you
Okay,
think
fine, whatever.
that's like a kind of spillover? It sounds like what a lot of the what's going on in schools where like, well, we're taking out our math and science requirements because it's not fair to black people. There's a focus on equity, not equality, and they're doing a lot of ridiculous things to make it seem like everyone has equal output. And this kind of reminds me of that a little bit. It's like, well, if anybody can use the force, like, what the fuck is the point?
It's
But
a
that's
really
Kind of, yeah.
kind of. Oh, sorry. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say that's the sad part is we all can't be equal. If we were all equal, it would be what is it called in politics, like socialism? Or
Yeah.
we
We're all the
do,
same.
yeah, we're all the same.
Yeah.
Everything we do, we're all equal in the money we make, and that's never gonna work. But they keep trying to put that in there, slowly changing people's like thoughts and ideas into that. And not everyone's gonna be special. And as Drinker said, if everyone's special, no one's special.
No one is special in this
Mm.
movie. And
It's such like a, that whole thinking, like, anyone can be a Jedi. You don't need to use the Force, etc. That's such a like a second or third wave feminist mentality. It's like when all the girls were like, no, I can open that jar, I can lift that box, I can lift that fridge, I can do all those sorts of things that men can do. I don't need any kind of innate ability or strength or whatever to be able to do it. And the reality is, well, no, you can't. Actually, no, you can't open that jar because you're, differently innately abled than men. So since this show is sort of like that article from Salon is talking about how it's highlighting all the sexism, I'm thinking, how many women were involved with the creative decisions of this show? I'm gonna say quite a lot. Certainly quite a lot.
Probably
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
oh god. All right, let me pick it up from the Salon article. In the limited time we've spent with the war hero, she's had her authority questioned by a man, a guy who's essentially a Corellian, God, a Corellian salvage yard manager, Min Weaver, Peter Jacobson, and made it through a gunfight in his workplace unscathed. How dare he? Surviving that shootout is no problem for Hera, especially with a force wielder at her side. Min Weaver's condescension might have caused someone less steady to burst a forehead vein, though. When Hera asks to see a supposedly classified document he's holding, he tries to block her by saying, I'm sorry, I cannot unseal the document without authorization. Well, then I'm authorizing it, says the general. I'm not sure you can, he replies. Hera reminds him that she is a general, aka girl boss, and authorizing declassifications is part of the gig. That's still not convincing enough for Min, who calls a protocol droid to his side to tell him what to do. For a story supposedly set long ago in a galaxy far away, far, far away, Ahsoka has a knack for capitalizing on frustrations common to women living in the here and now, especially through because I need I need skincare advice for my green skin. Yes, this definitely applies to the here and now. Sure, Jedi Ahsoka Tano, played by Rosario Dawson, and her apprentice Sabine Wren, played by Natasha Liu Bordizzo, may wrestle with the relevancy of Jedi traditions, but Hera's struggles are familiarly, wow, I'm retarded today, mundane. There may not be a word for it in the common tongue ruling George Lucas's space opera.
Can I just can
Yes.
I put this into context a little bit? Like this whole scene that they're referencing here, she's basically on the cusp of unmasking a big conspiracy to like arm dissident factions that are going to like try and overthrow the Republic. So it's nothing to do with like them being sexist towards her because she's a woman. I mean, she's not even a woman anyway. She's a fucking space alien with green tentacles coming out of her head, but whatever. It's like they don't want her to discover the things that they're doing, and so they're trying to stall her. It wouldn't matter if she was a man or a woman or a robot or whatever. Like they wouldn't want to give her the answers that she's looking for. So it's such a shitty example that this article's given because it's got nothing to do with sexism. It's everything to do with like a big conspiracy that's going on outside of her remit, basically as a military officer. But like they don't care about that kind of context because that doesn't fit with their narrative.
I really just love this sentence. Women in every workplace have contended with some jerk with a penis. That's redundant. Doubting their authority or something as simple as whether the information they're conveying is correct. Yeah, I just thought that was like just kind of a funny example how and then I wonder, my gosh, like, is that what we do? I don't know if you guys consider yourselves to be on the right or conservative or I don't know. Sometimes there's no word for it. Maybe you just feel like politically homeless. And then I'm like, well, is that, I mean, am I just doing the same thing on the other side? And then I go, well, no, this franchise is going against history, against its own lore, and it's not me, it's the children who are wrong. So,
I consider myself to be politically drunk,
yeah.
so that's my alignment.
Like for this show, I watched just a few clips here and there. Just looking at it, the direction it's very bland. It looks boring. The effects are horrible. I've seen the fights; they are subpar. And the only time it was ever kind of good was when Anakin Hayden Christensen came in and started fighting, and I was like, oh, well, that looks a little more interesting.
We kind of picked up on this. Like it's like he's been lightsaber training for the past 20 years, ever since he did like the original prequels. Because he's not missed a beat. Like obviously he's older now, but like he is like lightning fast with that stuff, and he looks like he's so comfortable with it. And then you've got Rosario Dawson who has to fight him, and she's just,
She looks so
so
slow.
she's so
Like,
slow, she's so clumsy. And look, I know not everyone picks up fight choreography that easily, but damn, they should have given her some extra lessons because he makes her look bad. And I
she
don't I really don't think that was the intention of the show.
no. And I
But
think she's a dancer too, so they should have given her the Marvel training prior to the show,
yeah.
kind of being in the same franchise because like she looks horrible when she fights.
Yeah. She really looks like clumsy and like she's really struggling, and you can tell he's having to like pull his punches or slow down a little bit just to give her time to catch up because it doesn't look good.
Wonder why they didn't use a stunt person then. Like that's so weird. They've exposed her to looking sort of awkward and clumsy, which she shouldn't, because as you said, she's a dancer. Like, why wouldn't you just use a stunt person who was good at picking up fight choreography?
I honestly don't know. I don't know because
Weird.
the cameras are really close in during their fight scenes, so you can tell that it's her. But man, like she's got a lot of prosthetics on and a lot of makeup. You
Mm.
could probably get a stunt woman like done the
Dressed
same way, and
up,
you wouldn't be
yeah.
able to tell the difference if it
And
was
then just
fast enough.
CGI over the face. Like they could have
Yeah.
done it. It's like they're weirdly making a point that Rosario Dawson has to fight Hayden Christensen because feminism. It's very strange.
I'm not quite sure what they were going for, and I don't know what the thinking was. Maybe it was just literally we don't have the time or the budget to do this because a lot of these Star Wars TV shows look really rushed. Like they have to just get the next thing out as quickly as possible because there's more on the conveyor belt that has to come. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there was a scene, I think, in the most recent episode where she's basically, it feels like underwater almost the whole episode, and she's in this kind of nether universe, like in between world.
It's
And
all
to
right.
me,
Nobody understands what the fuck was going on in that
nether,
episode.
netherworld. And apparently she's just sort of walked through life up until this point, and my takeaway was like, well, you really have to fight for it, because she seemed kind of blah. She seemed sort of like, obviously in gray clothing, but just dreary for the episodes leading up to this. And I just and to me it was like, well, okay, they're telling her you have to actually physically fight for your life and your right to party, as always. So maybe it was just, and but then you go,
The
oh,
whole yeah, the
Anakin's
whole
here, it's nostalgia bait again.
it is, and like the whole crux of this weird little interlude was like, I'm going to teach you a lesson about yourself, and you think, okay, well, what's he going to show us? Like, is it going to be some? Is he going to cut to the core of this character so we really understand who she is, what she fears the most, like what she hopes to accomplish? And it's literally just, do you want to live or die? That's your choice. Like, what's better? And it's like, okay, I guess I'd like to be alive. Perfect, you passed the test. Well done. That's basically it. And it's like, what have you taught us here? The whole episode was just built around, can we get Hayden Christensen back in this show for like
Mm.
5 minutes? That's it. And we'll think of a story to build around that later. It's such a shame, because when you see people's reactions, like they're so insanely excited by something like this, but it's so shallow and meaningless. Like this is what you live for now as Star Wars fans. Like, this is how low your benchmark is, just to see something that's vaguely familiar in completely removed from
Yeah.
context. That's all they want.
It's just a
It's
Star Wars flavored production, basically.
yeah,
Like it
Big
it
shiny lights.
looks nice.
it's
It looks okay. I mean, sometimes you zero in and the CGI is real bad, but you're like, okay, this is a Star Wars looking set, costumes, okay. Like,
it's like taking a turd like and spray painting like gold spray paint on it and convincing people that it's a bar of gold. That's really what it is. And they take it all the way to the bank and think that they're going to cash it in. There's
It,
nothing to be had there.
it is a shame, isn't it? I think that Disney has really diluted the Star Wars franchise to this point, because I've never been like massively into the Star Wars fandom, but I did used to enjoy Star Wars. Like I was saying, I've seen all of the 6 movies, so the prequels and the 3 originals and the Han Solo spin-off, which was quite good. And I always enjoyed it. But now, like, you've got the Mandalorian, you've got this weird show, you've got the other random stuff that they do, and I just think like it is possible to have too much of a good thing. And when you add kind of the Disney factor to it, which is their whole sort of like woke shtick that they stick through everything now, consistently ruining classic fairy tales and classic franchises. I just think they've really shot themselves in the foot with it, and people are just increasingly wising up to it, not just the sort of hardcore Star Wars fans, but also the general public. I mean, if you're looking at clumsy Rosario Dawson awkwardly fighting Anakin Skywalker, I mean, there comes a point where surely you just switch off because the quality is just not there anymore.
Well, I think you know, if you look back to what Star Wars did back in the 70s and the 80s, like the original 3 movies, that was a pop culture event. Like the people in every corner of the world, like they might have never watched them, they might never care about science fiction or anything like that, but they're going to be able to tell you who Luke Skywalker is, or Han Solo, or Darth Vader. Like, those names just became part of like our pop culture language. You got the prequels then in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, okay, they're pretty forgettable, but they sort of did the job, and it didn't like kill the brand of Star Wars. But then you look at what it is now, it's just a bunch of like obscure TV shows on a slowly dying streaming service. That's all it is now. There's no pop culture imprint of this. Nobody
Mm.
out there beyond the hardcore fandom could tell you who Ahsoka Tano is. You go to the average person in the street and like pin them up against the wall and tell me who Ahsoka is. They're gonna be
She's
like,
a
no, what are you talking
JOC,
about?
a Jedi of color.
Yeah. But that's what it is now. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It's not
Yeah.
it's not a pop culture event. It's just a bunch of boring TV shows. That's all it's become.
Yes, it's interesting to see the feminists like suddenly get on board and be like, "Oh, is this girl power? Yes, yes, okay, this is good. We'll write
Yeah.
articles about this."
But the
A
thing is,
coup-
basically everything in Disney Star Wars is about girl power. That's like what they all come down to. Like the movies with Rey, it's just all about like, she can do everything and she's the perfect like Jedi. She's better than Luke Skywalker ever was. Like, of course she
yeah,
has to
and
be.
right away has all her
Yeah.
abilities, has no arc,
Mm.
learns
That
no
to me is so
lessons.
boring because I think everyone goes through some sort of struggle in their life, and you can relate to characters that are uh, flawed and have to overcome something. And if you're just good at everything, well, I can't relate to that. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we,
Yeah.
we relate to a character's flaws, not their virtues. That's the
Mhm.
thing that makes them interesting. And if they don't
Mm.
have any flaws, well, there's nothing for you to like grapple with. There's nothing to
Yeah.
get invested in.
Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.